So we, with the new build garden, we had a completely blank canvas to start with, which is a really good space, and we were only using a very little amount of it. So it was really good to be able to have that first conversation with Adam and the team to come up with some ideas and put across what we had in our head, which was very, very different to what we ended up with.
In a good way.
In a fantastic way. It's not just a good way, it's a fantastic way. So we now make use of the whole garden. But those early stages where they were very keen to listen to what our ideas were, and then, yes, they transformed them into a great design, which then we didn't particularly like, because it was exactly what we had described to them. And then we ended up with their idea, which is totally different.
I was quite obsessed with the curved idea because I'd seen it so much on social media and previous work that ALS had done. I absolutely loved that. I was like, I want the curved idea, I really want that. And Adam and the team did design that exactly as we asked them to do, but it wasn't right for the space at all. And really, we just took their expertise and their knowledge, and they came up with a completely different design, one in which we would never ever have come up with. But we're so glad that we changed that.
I think a key bit for us was Adam would accept nothing else other than perfection. So if he was doing a site visit and found something that he wasn't quite happy with, there was never a question asked from his perspective of getting the team to redo it. And it would be stuff that we probably would never, ever have noticed. But his attention to detail meant that it would then get redone. And therefore we've ended up with a garden which, it's quite complicated from a number of angles in it, but everything is absolutely perfectly aligned, which is, it's those bits which I think we only now notice. At the time, we never really thought about. But the way it's ended up now, it looks absolutely incredible.
Adam and the team designed some beds, and they're quite sizable beds. We've got some trees in there for some structure, but we've planted them up, and they've really developed quite quickly over time. The quality of the soil, for example, that the team have put in has really helped, I think, with that, to sort of establish the garden. And because it's a new build, we didn't even have a bee. There was no wildlife at all. And now, even within the first year, we've got birds visiting and butterflies and bees, and it's starting to become a really lovely space to kind of be in already, in such a short space of time. So we can't wait to see it, in another year or so. It's just really nice. And, we just open the curtains, look out in the garden, and it gives you a sense of calm. It's really nice. And we're so pleased we did it, aren't we? We're so pleased we invested in that space.
It's an incredibly peaceful space. Partly because our estate is fairly quiet anyway, but we can be sat out in the garden in the summer, and it is just a sense of calm, absolute sense of calm. And there's always wildlife in there, which was a massive surprise to us that it sort of developed so quickly. But it means that you can sit out there with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever it is, and actually it is a really, really chilled environment, which is great because we're both quite busy with work. So it provides just a nice sort of peaceful area to go to. And then I think the kids absolutely love it. I think they don't quite realise how lucky they are to have a garden that looks like that, but they absolutely love it. Yes, it has the fact there's large spaces for them to go and rollerblade around the garden and things, which is a bit of a fortunate byproduct of it all. But even, how we've then made use of some of the spaces since Adam and the team finished the work, they absolutely adore it.
So yeah, one of the things that obviously we looked at ALS on social media and things, and didn't really realise they had a design service. So we thought knew what we wanted, and we were getting a company in to do what we had asked them to do. But actually, Adam and the team were able to completely design something for us, which we didn't realise we even needed or wanted. But was so fantastic because it really helped us to visualise what the space could look like, and the sort of 3D videos that were given to us really helped us do that, didn't it?
Yeah, I think going from that starting point of our idea to what's been transformed into ALS's fantastic concept, which was completely a world apart from what we had in our heads, and it was a two-way street. That that Adam brought back the initial designs and showed us actually what was in his head of what could be achieved in the space. That even that was still an iterative process of understanding what the different elements might be, adapting perhaps some of the spaces or some of the materials being used. It wasn't just this is what I want you to have. It was still a discussion and negotiation to find out actually what would work best for us. So the whole process over 4 or 5 weeks to go from what was in our head to the end state design is something that we never thought would be of benefit to us, because we thought our own idea was absolutely fantastic. But to see Adam Adam's idea transformed the space from what would have been actually probably quite a mundane idea to what has ended up being a fantastic idea is brilliant.
And I think not having a design would have been a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think the amount you're investing in that space to do it, to not go the extra step of having a professional design that's adapted specifically for your space by ultimately a team that's incredibly professional and well versed and very experienced, taking their advice to make the best of the space, I think is probably the key bit of that. So we're both fortunate in some ways that we both work from home. However, what that does present a challenge of is the fact that your daily commute is a matter of seconds, and therefore the normal break that you might have between work and perhaps getting the evening meal ready or even at lunch times is quite difficult to manage. So the space the garden has offered actually gives us, to a degree, that very valuable buffer between work and normal everyday life. And I think we both spend an awful lot of time in the garden, and even more so when the weather's particularly great, to use that space just for a bit of calmness. And I think whilst investing in your garden space is always going to be, from a monetary perspective, absolutely is going to be significant. The bit that's probably unquantifiable, but you definitely feel it, is how the space benefits you. And I think we can use it from a moment of calm. It is a very calm space. There's always something slightly different in it for us to go and look at, or just sit on the sofas and enjoy the space. And that bit, I don't think we would ever have envisaged using it in so many different ways.
No, it's our own little bit of sanctuary. I think that's probably really key to this. It's not just a garden; it's lots of different spaces, and it is a really, really calm space. And the way it's been designed, it's designed with the view in mind. So even through the design process, we had some of the views and images were taken from our bifolds looking out, or from where we would sit on the sofa and looking down the garden space. So the whole thing has been really well thought through in terms of that well-being and kind of sanctuary that we wanted.
Yeah, very much.